Uh-oh. Zach made another oopsie. So, welcome back to the podcast. Real quick, just before we start the actual thing, I just want to let you guys know that this episode is a culmination of two individual recording sessions. The first part is from an Extrasode that we were going to do about YouTube alternatives and a bunch of topics that Leah/patient gave us. We wanted to cover a lot of those really quickly. The other half of it is the Your Week on YouTube section from an entire episode with our friend Jay the Zoomster. Unfortunately, Jay lost his audio file, so we're not able to include that part of the conversation in the episode, but we do have all the Your Week on YouTube stuff. So if it sounds a little weirdly paced, and it sounds like there's a transition going into something else that's not really there, I did my best to edit the whole thing to make it like comprehensible, but it is coming from two individual recording sessions. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Next week you get the last pre-recorded episode, and then we're going to be recording this shit probably every single week. So get hyped for that, and we'll see you, listen to the episode. I'm Zach Snyder.
And I'm Aden Matthews.
And welcome back to another YouTube podcast, the one-stop shop for anything and everything related to YouTube.
We're the podcast known for taking month hiatuses and then attempt to jump back into it.
Yeah, something like that.
Only for us to then take another month hiatus.
Exactly. It's kind of like a nuanced way of providing content to you guys.
Right.
You don't understand it. We don't understand it, but it's part of our method.
Sure. It's not convenient to you, but it's convenient for us in the moment. And I'd like to think that the breaks help kind of recharge our batteries, therefore providing better content to you. So in a roundabout way, like, this is actually the preferred way of making podcasts, and we have just been geniuses all along.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would say so.
I watched a lot of recording.
Heck yeah. It's the best show. Season 4, baby. We still don't have any news on exactly when it's coming out.
I was about to ask that, and you already killed any hope I had in my head.
No idea
of when that might happen. So that's wild.
So before we get into our main topic, and of course everybody's favorite part of the show, we had a couple of little like housekeeping things we wanted to mention.
Yeah.
So real briefly, we have some topics from patients that we have kind of been given, and we wanted to go through a couple of them real quick just to say like when we're going to do these topics and all that kind of good stuff.
Exactly. The past couple of episodes have been a mix of new ideas and patients' ideas. This list kind of started out fairly long, but we've kind of been whittling through it to the point where we're only at about like 5 topics left. And we feel like it'd be better just to kind of address them here than to give them their own episode yet. So hopefully that makes sense. We appreciate patient as always for suggesting some of these, but we're going to kind of do a brief go through of all of them. So Zach, go ahead. Hit them with the first one.
So the first one is do's and don'ts of advertising your videos. Right. And as far as this one goes, we kind of already did an episode on it back in the early days of the podcast called Marketing 101.
Episode 13. 2 hours and 47 minutes. Has about 2 views on the channel. So if you want some of that, go ahead and do it. Sometimes we'll revisit topics if we have like a lot new to say on them. This like could have been an episode, but since that episode, me and Zach have kind of like laid off a little bit on advertising stuff, so it'd be kind of hard to do a whole episode about this topic just from the standpoint of where we're at now.
Right. It could be interesting to do an antithesis to this episode, like a why you should market your videos. I don't know, just as kind of like a devil's advocate thing.
Sure.
Because we are in a kind of a different place with what we're doing creatively and everything since like a year ago. But we could definitely revisit YouTube marketing and advertising and stuff as new things kind of emerge in the space and all that good stuff.
That'd be cool. All right. Yeah. So next up on the list, we have finding inspiration/ideas in other creators. And this one was potentially going to be an episode, but we kind of sort of did this already in a couple of episodes. Episode 0, should you start a YouTube channel in 2017? Episode 1, how to survive your first month on YouTube, and how to survive your first year. I remember an analogy Zach was talking about like jazz music, where you kind of have to take ideas from other people before you can properly create your own stuff. Obviously, like, don't copy people, but like taking inspiration and ideas is a practice we all do. Will it make for like a whole episode on its own? I'm not sure, honestly. It's kind of one of those that are up in the air, but we figured we'd just go ahead and mention that we have covered it before.
Yeah, for sure. There's like little bits and pieces of that. So who knows? But for now, we're not going to really do anything with it. The next one, though, is sponsorships. And this is one that we can definitely do an episode on in like a year or two from now. Right. While both of us probably have a decent idea of how sponsorships work on YouTube, I've seen it done with a lot of bigger creators. I've talked to other creators about it. I don't feel like we have the knowledge firsthand to do a really solid episode on that. And so we want to kind of push that into the future when we do have a lot of sponsorships happening on our channels.
Right. We could take a stab at like guesswork, and we could kind of like mention Patreon type stuff in there, but it wouldn't be like what you came to the episode to hear about, really. So honestly, like, until we have been outfitted with that experience firsthand, I just don't feel comfortable talking about it. I don't feel comfortable talking a lot about the financial episodes in general, and the only reason we've done them is because Zach has kind of dipped his toes firsthand into them. But they've always kind of been a thing for me where I'm like, I don't know anything about this, really. So
it's a very complex part of YouTube that takes a lot of work to get to as far as making money. And then once you start making money, it's like keeping up with it. Definitely takes a lot of work.
Exactly. But we will cover it in the future. That one's definitely not off the table. Just give us a little bit of time where we actually like have experience with it.
We could eventually make an episode dedicated to Patreon. I think that could be cool. I'm just now thinking of this. This is why I'm bringing it up.
Sure.
An episode to Patreon, an episode to affiliate links. I know I have a decent amount of knowledge about that. We could talk about that. But as far as like the sponsorships themselves, we're going to leave that for another day.
Mm-hmm. And then next up on our list, and this was going to be the topic we were going to do for today's episode until we got a different idea. Analytics. Analytics are super important. They are a big part of YouTube. We haven't covered it yet in the same way that we kind of didn't cover YouTube SEO until episode 30. It's not a fun topic to discuss. It's not like something me and Zach get passionate about. It's very important. We'll give it that. Like, it's super important, and we should cover it for sure in an episode. But in the same way that it took so long to cover YouTube SEO, analytics is probably going to be one of those categories where, like, me and Zach are just going to have to sit down and talk about numbers for 2 hours. And,
for sure.
We're not sure how that will go over. Unless you guys really liked the YouTube SEO episode. It got, like, 21 views. It did well. So
yeah, it did even better as far as the different podcast platforms.
Sure.
So
definitely
I will
in the future.
I will say that YouTube is moving over from their usual backend system to the new Creator Studio. That is going to be finalized, I think, at the end of this month. Everybody will be forced to use it, which I really hate. So maybe like once we have a little bit more time under our belt with that system, it could be a good idea to do the Creator Studio episode and then have analytics pushed inside of that.
Yeah, that could be cool. They could both be a topic that I'd love to talk about. So, yeah, definitely in the future for analytics, just not right now.
But our last topic on this little list is updates on YouTube alternatives. And, well, we did an episode on YouTube alternatives back in the day, like a year and a half ago. It was one of our first episodes.
Was that an Extrasode or a...
It was a full episode. It was originally uploaded on October 11th, 2017.
I'm trying to find what episode it is. Episode 4.
Episode 4, yeah. And then about 2 months later, I think, we did an episode on VidMe shutting down, which was one of these YouTube alternatives that we kind of praised in the first episode, and we've since talked about some of these YouTube alternatives briefly, but we decided we were going to go ahead and talk about them now on this episode, since there's not a lot to say, but we want to just kind of set the record straight with everything there.
Sure. And she mentioned with this topic that it could possibly be an extrasode, so me and Zach just thought it'd be a good idea to like cover it in 5 minutes here and just kind of like give it its own say. Can I like have a confession here?
Go for it.
So, episode 4 of the podcast, I remember when we recorded it at the time, I had like considered it one of our best episodes. To the point that I made like that little Twitter video, remember? Where I got all like ranty and angry about it.
Yeah, that's right.
And over time, the farther away we've gotten from that episode, the more and more that I regret making it. And I regret the choices I made following that video and success.
That's interesting.
It's kind of like one of my biggest regrets of the entire podcast. And not necessarily because like the information is kind of outdated, and that's part of it. Mm-hmm. But I felt like we kind of went, or I at least felt like I went a little too overboard in pushing the importance of it, especially at that time, that I kind of regret it. So this is going to be an opportunity for me to kind of redeem myself, in my opinion. But how'd you think about that episode? Honestly, I want to know that.
I think it's a weird topic because I still find the importance in YouTube alternatives. And I think the more we've done this, the more we've realized that maybe there's not really a YouTube alternative, but maybe there are. Like we all know the sayings of diversify your income and don't put all your eggs in one basket. And we've sang the praise of don't just do YouTube. If you're going to do like this content creation thing, like dip your toes into streaming on Twitch or making content for Instagram or making podcasts or doing all these other things. But when it comes to the actual YouTube alternative of the things, like it's such like there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing that even comes close to what YouTube does and at how well it does it. And so I don't regret saying go put your videos on other platforms. I don't, because I think there is still some merit to it. It's just sending people to a good place where they can put their videos on there is the difficult part of it.
Sure. And the examples that we had in that YouTube's alternatives video, we have since had a different change of heart. Like VidMe obviously shut down for one thing.
VidMe shut down.
What was the other one? The political one? I forgot what it was called. BitChute. See, I've erased it from my mind. That's how like far away I am from that episode. BitChute, come to find out, wasn't exactly a great place either. Not necessarily for like finding an audience, just not the right audience. There's a lot of weird people on BitChute, the kind of people you don't want watching your videos ever, really, unless you're like a conspiracy theory channel. Go to BitChute if you have like a conspiracy theory. They'll eat that shit up. But for people like me and Zach, it's just kind of
I have some stories for both of those platforms, just briefly.
Yeah, go ahead.
So VidMe shut down in like, I want to say it was probably around October of last year. I don't know. It may have been sooner than that. They just started working on a new platform, and I'm looking at it now. It's called Knowable. And they have audio courses that are free. Like, I think that's the entire thing. It's just like audio courses. And so there's a bunch of like entrepreneurship stuff on here, and it looks interesting. They're still wrapping up production on it. They're gonna have courses and mobile apps. There's kind of already a lot of these course websites, so I'm not quite sure why they decided to dip their toes into that, but it's there. So I thought I'd go and let people know about that.
Okay.
As far as BitChute goes, so BitChute has had such a weird history. We found it. It was kind of presenting itself as this free speech platform, but we saw it as a YouTube alternative platform. A lot of people were starting to upload videos on it. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
What drew me to it was the way it it presented videos with like a I forgot the technical explanation of it, but it basically meant that like watching videos on BitChute was a bit faster and easier because it wasn't relying entirely on like a server, I believe. I don't know. The technical side of it was weird, but I liked the way it sounded, and from a practical standpoint, watching videos on BitChute was a bit easier than YouTube. So that was really cool.
They have peer-to-peer in the same way that like you would torrent things. Essentially you're watching the video from through the internet, through somebody else's like upload of it. It's very hard to explain, but
it's weird.
It's different than YouTube, and that's kind of dope. They since changed their name to Speak Out and really embraced this kind of free speech, anything is game atmosphere, which leads to going to the front page. And when you look at popular videos, not only are all of these videos under 100 views, most of them have just a few views, but you've got things like a TV show episode that's definitely illegal, an episode called, or a video called "Fuck the Power, I Was Expelled from the 5th Grade."
I like that title.
Yeah. A lot of things about like you said, conspiracy, political, like really out there.
Blockchain.
A lot of like,
there's a lot of that.
Blockchain. A lot of things that are just kind of offensive. Even.
Right.
Here's my secret. I never stopped uploading to BitChute.
Wow.
And the reason why is because I just kind of forgot it existed for a little bit. And I have it automatically set to my YouTube channel where videos just upload there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of my strong point from very early on, was that my videos are just going to get automatically uploaded there. I don't have to do any work.
Right.
Now, a lot of these videos, especially early on, have a little over 100 views, which is still more than YouTube. Even looking through my Your Everyday Nerd episodes, most of these have more views here than they are on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, because there's no analytics section. I can't tell how much of those videos were actually watched. But I will say, I've got a couple of comments, and I'll read one right quick because I think it's funny.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I did an episode on the very popular Netflix Bird Box movie that came out earlier this year. And a lot of people were talking about how good it was, and it really wasn't that good of a movie. So I called it, "Is Bird Box Overrated?" And I got a comment from a fellow named Demon of Elru. And the comment is, "It is anti-white propaganda. All bad people in the movies equals whites. The movie sums it up towards the end that it seems only white people turn evil who see the demon and go on murder rampages, while all the non-whites who see the demon are good and kill themselves instead of killing others. You can't see the anti-white agenda in this shit story. You are blind."
Wow.
So, yeah.
You must be blind, Zach. You didn't mention that once in the video.
I think I'm blind. I think
What
it's
the
funny.
hell?
Blind is kind of like the whole point of the movie, being blind.
Yeah, stay woke, everybody. Watch.
Yeah. So I wish I could read you more comments, but it doesn't really have like the notification system is ass. So I can't really find out like which videos have comments and which don't right off the top of my head. Or right just looking at it.
I think like more than the community, one of the other things I didn't care too much about BitChute or Speak Out or whatever they're going by now.
It's BitChute now. They went back to BitChute.
They went back to BitChute. Confusing, I know. Anyway, yeah. We kind of like mentioned early on that like the layout of it was kind of confusing and that they needed like a lot of work to update it and kind of visually make it all look better, especially from like the front end and back end type stuff. And they really haven't improved a whole lot since then, from what I've gathered.
No.
And that's just kind of like, come on, guys. Like, I get it. Whatever. You're still a website. You're still a video streaming platform. You're functioning like you're from 2008, all right? We need kind of some standard features here that should have been on here from the beginning, much less 2 years later.
Yeah, definitely.
After the fact. So yeah, BitChute is not something I'd even remotely recommend unless you're into the anti-white agenda, in which case it sounds like a great place to be. I went out of my way to delete mine, so like I had to. It took more work to delete it than it did to set it up. So,
you can hide your channel. There is a button to hide your channel.
Yeah.
So I might do that. I don't know. I just think it's funny.
It's very funny.
If anything, it is a decent way to archive your videos. I don't know if... You know what? I don't think you can actually download your video. You can download your videos through torrents. So if you need to archive your videos and you want to do that, I guess. But I wouldn't actually recommend it. Whether or not I found anybody from that website that's came over to the YouTube channel is really just up in the air. There's no telling.
If you get an anti-white agenda comment on your latest episode of Your Everyday Nerd on YouTube, you'll know somebody came from BitChute. And decided to
absolutely.
let you know. So yeah, we've talked about BitChute, hadn't exactly panned out. VidMe shut down. I'm gonna hit you with another one that we didn't talk about in that episode, but we talked about it a little bit later. Do you remember IGTV?
Okay.
Hadn't that been a while? Like, I remember when we first discussed it. It was this, like, big debate between you and me of, like, I don't know if this is going to go anywhere, but I see potential. Like, we were really kind of, like, excited, like, going on this back and forth debate. And then ever since that episode, in, like, the first couple of weeks of IGTV where a bunch of YouTubers covered it, went quiet pretty quickly. So, I don't know what happened. You'll have to update me on it.
I have updates for that. I do have updates for that.
Yeah, go ahead. What happened with IGTV?
IGTV started off really slow, and then it never really went anywhere from really slow. That's not to say that people are not finding some success on it. Very big accounts like Gary V, 181,000 views on one of these videos. Other people that I follow, like 15,000. I'm looking through it right now. 100K, 1 million. So it's not that it's not being used.
Sure.
It's just that creating the right kind of content for IGTV is kind of confusing, and a lot of this content is just repurposing it. A lot of these are just YouTube videos repurposed for IGTV. So I've thought about, like, in the last month, taking Your Everyday Nerd, just fucking putting it on there. Here's the big thing that they've done over the last couple months. Originally, you had to go download the IGTV app to upload and view stuff from it. But you could also hit the little IGTV icon in the top right corner of Instagram.
Okay.
You still can do that. That's not taken away or anything. But now, when you're scrolling through Instagram, originally there were two different types of content to show up on your Instagram feed. Pictures and videos. Videos were limited to 30 seconds to a minute. Or it was like up to a minute long. Anything larger than that, they just won't take. Now you can find Instagram TV posts in your feed. Some people are irritated by this. Some people think it's great because it does give more viewership towards IGTV.
Right.
Here's the
catch.
You're
using the actual Instagram audience and not just its own separate thing.
Right. Here's the catch. It only shows you the first minute of the IGTV video, and then you have to click the little icon, which will take you to the Instagram TV layout. I don't think that's a bad thing, because watching video on Instagram is a little frustrating overall. So if you are going to watch longer form content, you should be in a place that's a little more optimized for that. But it just feels like something that they maybe should have started with if they were going to go this way.
And I mean, like, I get the, like, underlying principle behind it. If you have mobile vertical video, typically you don't want it to be, like, terribly long in the first place. Because you're on your phone, you have 30,000 apps and things vying for your attention. Like, most people will really only sit through about a minute of mobile video. It's a little bit different when you're on a desktop and you're kind of, like, anchored there and you have more time committed to it than your phone. I watch less videos on my phone, even. Like, same behavior and everything, but it's just, like, it's different on a phone. But what that means, though, is that you're going to get, like, a lot of repurposed, shorter content type of videos, which just like isn't. I don't know. It's not something that appeals to me particularly, or my YouTube sensibilities even.
I think the biggest problem for me is that, number one, all the people that I follow on here either are not doing anything with the app, or they're repurposing content. Mm-hmm. Or it's a different case where it's just very unscripted, raw content, which I don't mind. That's what I started off with on the app, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But there's just nothing super interesting for me right now. The other issue, it's a lot of Facebook content. It's a lot of Facebook content. I bet. Also, there's no way for me to just like bring the video out and let me continue to scroll through Instagram or scroll through Twitter or whatever it may be. So I have to be dedicated to this Instagram TV layout and watch this video no matter what. And in this society where we multitask a lot, like, I just don't think that's acceptable.
Like, get a picture-in-picture mode at least. Like YouTube
exactly
would be really helpful in that sort of scenario.
And Facebook video has a similar situation, which I guess I'll go and bring up. Facebook video is an alternative platform.
Yeah. Yeah.
But once again, I feel like it's for a very specific type of content, which is very. It was just objectively bad.
It's just bad.
So if you want to make content that, I don't even know how to describe it. I maybe I need to like spend some time and really dig in deep into Facebook video, because it's such an interesting place. There's a lot of things happening in it, but I just don't know if it's right for my type of content or for your type of content, or, you know, that kind of stuff. Anyways, they both have a similar issue where it's like getting from one video to the next, finding stuff that you're interested in is all very difficult. And that's a bit frustrating. Searching on Instagram TV, like if I was to search the name of a video that I'm looking for, I don't get that video. I don't get a specific video. I get a channel name.
Weird.
I can look up hashtags, but I can't look up any individual video. And Facebook has the exact same thing. Actually, hashtags don't work. It's just channels. I thought you could do hashtags.
That's bizarre. It's so weird.
Yeah. So
makes me feel icky.
It's like you are forced to use their algorithm no matter what. And if you don't like anything there, then oh well.
Right. Yeah. Which is I guess the thing about like all these YouTube alternatives. In order for like any of them to work, they kind of have to be so different from YouTube that they're their own thing. Because anytime we get something that's like kind of YouTube or has a lot of the same things as YouTube, people just prefer YouTube and it shuts down. Or like it's objectively worse in some form. So we end up with a lot of alternatives that are like vastly different, which means that they're not really like alternatives for me, right? They're not something I'm particularly interested in or want to do, because like it's enough work getting a YouTube channel off the ground. It's even more trying to deal with an alternative, and that also has its own formula, also has its own algorithm, also has its own way of making content. And like I'm just trying to work on one series, right? Like God forbid I have to figure out like a version of it for Instagram and Facebook and all this other shit on top of it. Like it's just a pain, honestly.
Right. Definitely. No, definitely.
So it's in this weird like middle ground here where it's like not close enough to YouTube to last too long, or too different from YouTube for me to find anything of value there. And I can't be the only one who's like that, because I know there's a lot of people who would just rather stay on YouTube regardless of the fact, and that kind of defeats the whole purpose, right? We want to have something different from YouTube. We want to have something as creators as an option for us. But when those options are such huge pains in the asses or shut down, like they're not really alternatives at that point. You know?
Right. It's very much a thing where I think, whoa, okay, please stop playing. There's a video playing. Stop. Okay. Okay.
See what I mean? See what I mean?
Yeah. I'm on a different website right now, and that I'm going to talk about briefly. But there are definitely some bigger. I got to mute this website. Holy shit. There are definitely some bigger platforms out there that are similar to YouTube, but YouTube is so convenient.
It really is.
It's so convenient, and I'm not gonna be able to get my audience to move over to another platform to watch my stuff most of the time. So
that's the thing where I hear a lot of like people who are tired of YouTube or whatever will be like, "Hey, we should get a bunch of creators to migrate over, and that way YouTube will be like less relevant." And that argument didn't really work because in order for that to happen, the audience has to move over, right? And if the audience is going to another platform, it has to be just as convenient, just as easy to use, have just as many options, right? Like, it's not the creators that hold leverage in that system there. It's YouTube and its algorithm and it's the way it's set up. They like condition people to stay there to the point where like your favorite creator could leave and go somewhere else. Okay. There's 30 million other options. Like, whatever. Have fun.
pretty much.
You'll be back eventually. You know? Like, arguments like that don't work because YouTube has such a fucking stranglehold on the audience to the point where unless we can find a way to get them to move first and foremost, YouTube's still going to be the dominant video platform, regardless of how many creators try and jump ship or have a startup or something similar. Even if it was a PewDiePie or a T-Series. They could both leave tomorrow. And I guarantee you most of the audience would still be on here and find another option.
Oh, definitely. No, 100%.
Right.
It's just like, yeah, there's so much. I don't like using the word competition on YouTube, but if you leave YouTube, somebody's going to take your spot.
Yep.
Your viewers are going to find somebody else to watch, no matter how dedicated to you they are. They will find somebody else to watch. They'll get over it at some point. And there's just, I think if you want to upload on YouTube and these other platforms, I think that's completely fine. Sure. You might be able to find some success with it. It's just, I wouldn't say go all in on any of these individual platforms.
At least at this moment,
all.
I'd say.
At least right now.
There
might be something bigger and better in the future.
Right.
But let's remember that YouTube is still owned by Google. One of the biggest platforms, one of the biggest companies in the world. So
yeah, that was pretty much the update. It's gotten a lot worse. Nothing has really changed for the better, I'd say. And the main thing I just wanted to get across is like, while I do believe that having alternatives to YouTube is a good thing, you got to be careful, man. And you got to be sure that the time and resources you're putting in to these alternatives are well spent. Because if it's not,
right,
and it doesn't pan out, like you could have put that energy and time into YouTube and made something of it, right? So you gotta be very intentional about it. And that was what I should have said more in the original episode, is not to like put all your videos on all these different platforms. It's find a platform that your content specifically thrives on, and if it happens to work there, put more time and energy corresponding to how many people are like actually there watching it, you know.
And I want to give
go ahead.
I want to give a couple of numbers right quick just to like put some things in perspective. So YouTube, as of January 2019, is obviously the most popular video website. It has 1 billion estimated unique monthly visitors. So 1 billion people are looking at YouTube every month. There are 3 billion people that have accounts on the website. Netflix comes in at number 2 at 150 million. So already there's like a big drop in that, and Netflix is very high quality, mostly high quality content.
Curated stuff too.
Curated stuff.
Yeah.
People pay to have their stuff put on there. Netflix pays other people to put their stuff on there. So it's a very big different thing. Vimeo comes in third, and Vimeo is probably one of the oldest and one of the biggest YouTube alternative platforms out there that I think you could put your stuff on there. They have 130 million.
I've been getting ads from them recently on YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Like showing new features off or whatever. I'm like, this is kind of new. I haven't seen this in a while. I forgot about Vimeo. You know?
I think Vimeo is not terrible. I kind of like the website a little bit. It's good for people that want to sell videos, sell specific things. I know Ralph the Movie Maker, one of the YouTubers I watch, he made a film and he sold it on there for like $5.
It's more of a film platform in general. It's not like put your daily web show on here. It's I've worked on a project for 3 years and I want the world to see it in the best quality type of deal.
I think so, for sure. It also costs money to put stuff on there.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Kind of like Netflix, it's a bit more curated than YouTube is.
A bit, yeah. Coming in at 4 is Yahoo. I don't have anything to say about that. Number 5.
People still use
Number
Yahoo.
5 is the last one that I have, which is Dailymotion. And they have 100 million, which again is only like 1/10 of YouTube.
Right, and that's the top 5.
Is 100 million a lot of viewers? Absolutely. Could you find people on those platforms? Absolutely. But I'll give you a couple more numbers just because I think this is super interesting and I just found this out.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande, one of my favorite artists, one of her more recent songs got 331 million views on YouTube. That same video on Dailymotion has 58,000.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's the highest one on Dailymotion.
Like the record setter?
I don't know about that. It's the highest Ariana Grande song on there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is. It is.
Lord.
I've thought about starting to put stuff on Dailymotion because that is free. There is a limit to how much you can put per day though. So it would take me a little while to like get things moved over. But again, it's like, do I want to spend an extra 2 days to put everything up when I could just use that 2 days to work on more videos?
You're everyday nerd.
Right.
I think the thing about a lot of those numbers too is like, is 100 million people fine for like one creator? Absolutely. Like you'd be able to live off that for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Retire happily. The thing about 100 million people, though, compared to YouTube's 3 billion, is that while they're technically, could be a video with 100 million views on both platforms, there's a lot less niches on Dailymotion that can thrive because those 100 million people aren't as varied and diverse as the 3 billion that are on YouTube, right?
Right.
So the cool thing about YouTube is that you get a lot of weird shit that you wouldn't normally see on TV, and like weird channels that theoretically shouldn't have an audience but do,
Right, exactly.
And those like niches don't exist on a platform with only 100 million people, So it's a bit tougher for me to be like, is Dailymotion good enough to support like a vlogging channel? Probably. Is it good enough to support retro gaming 20 to 30 minute videos? That I'm not too sure. Right? I'd have to research it, obviously,
I don't know.
Test it out, but like...
Right.
3 billion people gives you a lot of room for ideas and niches that could potentially have an audience. 100 million is kind of a cap. Or like it or not. Even though it's a lot of people. It probably just doesn't have that many potential niches to like succeed off of. Even though it's still a ton of people, right? It's just how these things work a lot of the time.
For sure. And a lot of the content you do see on YouTube, on Dailymotion, it's so varied in quality that it's like I typed in Click movie review because I did a movie review for Click recently, and there's like one video that is actually a review of that movie, and it was 6 years ago, and it's got like 300 views. No, it's got 48 views.
Yikes!
So it's like. Everything else has to do with Bollywood, and it's only like another 10 videos or so. One of them is a Metal Gear Solid Let's Play. So the search engine there is just not good.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine like going onto YouTube and typing in like Super Mario Brothers and only getting like 10 results?
It's wild.
Like, can you imagine a time in early YouTube where that was just like, yeah, only 10 people have made a video on this topic. Whereas now, like, God forbid, you type in, like, Mario or Zelda or Minecraft and you get, like, 13 million fucking videos and growing every day.
Exactly.
To the point where you'll never be able to watch everything on there. And I get it, Click is nowhere near a Mario thing, but just for, like, that same example, right? What if I go into YouTube right now and type in, like, Click movie review?
There's a lot.
Look at all this.
I guarantee I don't show up on the front page.
Just on and on and on and on and on. Yeah. And there's some Bollywood stuff on here too, but there are a lot more like actual reviews of an Adam Sandler movie that frankly like should not have that much attention. But you get what I mean, right? There's a niche of people who want to watch fucking white dudes complain about Click. Like 4.2 thousand views, 1.7 views from 6 months ago. 216 11 months ago, like, and it keeps going. It just keeps going. Honestly, and that's like over a niche topic like that, right?
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's wild. I'll bring up one other alternative just briefly because I'm starting to dig back into this. We've talked about Twitch before a lot. I have an entire episode dedicated to live streaming. If you're going to live stream, Twitch is probably the place to do it.
Yep.
But they also have a videos section. You can't upload videos here. I started doing this a couple weeks ago, but I was advised from Roberto Blake to start putting my videos on Twitch, which I think is interesting. I think that could go somewhere in the future. Right now, 0 to 3 views on the first 10 episodes. Not super surprised.
Yeah.
There's also big issues with their uploading features. Half of these don't have thumbnails on them because they didn't update the thumbnail like it was supposed to. So I have to go back in there and manually upload them again, and I think I've already done it twice.
There's always a catch, isn't there? There's always like one little thing that isn't.
There is.
Quite like.
And that's why I think it's better for you to just kind of brute force your way with YouTube. Continue making videos, figuring out the algorithm, figuring out the website, doing as much as you can there. I think that's more worth it than trying to extend yourself to 30 different platforms that you might not get anywhere with.
I will say, like, if you are hell-bent on being a creative person and you don't want to do everything on YouTube, the best shot you'd have in it, in my opinion, is to only make videos on YouTube but make other forms of creative projects on other platforms. So make your videos on YouTube, but also live stream on Twitch, but also have your music on SoundCloud, but also have your podcast on Anchor, right? Like, that's technically an alternative to YouTube. You're technically growing a different audience, and that technically could cross over. But it's a bit different in saying, like, go on Vimeo, Dailymotion, and put all your YouTube videos over there, right? Like, if you're actually going to find some alternatives to YouTube, you're going to have to make different content than you would on YouTube. Just bottom line, I think. And I think, like, the best shot you have at it is doing other creative projects like live streaming, podcasting, SoundCloud rapping, writing fanfic or novels, or making movies on Vimeo, right? But as far as, like, having your typical, like, internet videos, I think, like Zach said, you'd be better off just sticking to YouTube and staying there for now. Unless things change, which they always could, keep a lookout, see what other people are doing. But for now, as of April 15th, 2019, keep it on YouTube.
Definitely.
So that's all I had to say. If you had any like final thoughts on the topic.
I'm good. I mean, we talk shit about YouTube a lot. A lot of people talk shit about YouTube a lot for various reasons. But at the end of the day, it is the best platform for short form and long form videos. It just is. There's nothing else like it currently on the internet. If there is something like it, or even better, there's not an audience there for it. It really, the search engines aren't necessarily better on other websites. Like everything that YouTube does, it does better than most other platforms. Mm-hmm. And it has the audience to back it up. So for now, you're stuck with YouTube. That's just what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get into your week on YouTube.
Everybody's favorite segment.
Everybody's favorite segment with the trademark and everything
included. And
we should point out that this is actually your month on YouTube because it's been a month since we recorded these.
It usually is for this segment. Like, it's not the first time we've done your month on YouTube.
Yep, pretty much.
So
here we are.
Yeah, exactly. You want to go first, Zach?
Oh boy, where should I start?
How about that dot on your profile picture? Can we start with that? Because that dot has been visibly bothering me and Patient.
Yeah. Okay, I will mention it. Marzak brought it up in a call, and then Patient added me on Twitter, and let's see if I can find that mention right quick because I had some choice words about it, if I'm not mistaken.
You did. You really did.
Let's see.
It's been one of my favorite memes in the Zach Discord for a while now. Is this accursed dot that sits right next to the left eyebrow of his YouTube icon and Twitter icon too.
The cursed dot. Wait, what are you talking about?
The fucking. Are we on the same topic right now? We might not be.
No. Are you talking about the thing with the eyebrow near the eyebrow?
Yeah, that little dot.
That's a line, Chief.
Is it a line?
Yeah. I don't know about that. That just makes it. That's like a scrunched up and down eyebrow type thing. They're talking about. Okay, so in my Twitter icon, on my hat, I have these dots that symbolize the back like a hat, like a snapback hat. One of the dots is a little bit out of place.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and
funny.
If I could find this.
I can't believe I was thinking of the wrong dot this entire. I thought they were referring to the eyebrow.
I was responding to one of Patient's tweets about something just completely random. And she said, "Did you fix the dot in your PFP that isn't aligned yet?" I said, "Unfortunately, on the list of things that I care about right now, this is super far down on the list." She said, "Actually reported." I said, "In order to fix that," and fix I have in quotes, "I would have to fix 6 different cartoon faces of mine, then re-upload to Twitter and Discord icons, and fix all thumbnails for Lions on Our Gaming that are already finished. Sometimes we just have to accept that humans are imperfect creatures." Pray emoji.
That's wonderful.
Speaking of Twitter, I have what is the word I'm looking for? I haven't been using Twitter as much lately.
I noticed that, yeah.
Basically cut down on my social media usage over the past 3 weeks. Almost the last month, I think. And it's been interesting. I took Instagram off my phone for 2 weeks and then reinstalled it when I was ready to post something again. And I haven't really been scrolling down on it at all. Twitter is just completely off my phone.
That's probably smart.
Yeah, I realized I was spending so much time scrolling on these websites and nothing good was coming of it. I was just getting like angry at some like dumb shit halfway through the day and I'd be like, why am I even on this website? Now I spend about 10 minutes a day. I have a little thing on my Google Chrome browser that only limits me to 10 minutes a day on Twitter. And I don't miss it. Like I go on there about 10 minutes a day. Sometimes it's 20 because I'm able to do it on my laptop as well. And it gives me like an extra 10 minutes. But I'll just like...
twisted the rules already.
Just a little bit. Yeah, just cheat. A little bit. But it's still not much. It's not even... Like I don't even use the full time most days. And usually it's like I'll post a couple of things. I'll scroll down for like a couple of minutes and I'll get bored with that, whatever's on there and just close out the tab. Which is cool. I'm happy for. I'm proud of myself there.
I am too, man. That takes some willpower. I know myself.
It's hard.
I'm on Twitter like every other minute, and it's not like I don't even post stuff is the issue. Like I just like looking through everybody else's shit,
Right.
more than I care about like posting. Sometimes I'll remember of like, oh yeah, I got a video coming out, or like I want to retweet something stupid Danku posted. Like most of the time I'm just like absent-mindedly scrolling and wasting upwards of several hours. Like pretty much on my phone and my computer I have 3 things open all the time. It's Twitter, Discord, and YouTube. And then like for the 3 monitors set up, those are the 3 things I have on all the time. And then on my phone, I have the apps for each of them, and I go back in and back out like every 2 seconds.
It's awful.
That's it. Yeah, just
it's
all
not
day.
good.
Just
it's
all
not
day.
Healthy.
It's sickening. I'm addicted to the little notifications and the bell, the dot, YouTube, whatever. Like I'm just refreshing constantly and trying to find something else. So I probably need to do what you're doing actually if I want to live any longer.
Well, okay, so to put this in perspective real quick, because I don't want to like I don't want to talk about this too much this week, but the beginning of March, all of March was awful. I had an aunt of mine pass away, and so there was a lot of things that I had to like help with that, and just it always sucks to lose somebody. My hard drive messed up on me.
That was another saga.
And then it messed up on me again.
Yeah.
And it just did I even talk about that on the last episode of the podcast? I don't know if I did or not.
This was after the podcast.
My fucking hard drive broke and I was about ready to quit YouTube.
He really was. He was
like
saying some choice words.
It was not okay. I was like, if I have to redo everything, I don't know if I can do this. I got my files back. I was able to move everything over, fix the hard drive, or so I thought. About a week and a half later, the hard drive starts messing up again. I backed up everything a week and a half ago, but I ended up with like 12 hours of work on a client video just gone. And I had to slowly move things over. And I mean like files that were a few megabytes were taking 10 minutes to move over because something is so wrong with this hard drive. And I still got to get it fixed. I don't know what it is.
Jeez.
So that was very frustrating for a couple of weeks. This is like the same weekend that I was going to a funeral. And it's just like, man, this sucks. Also, I had the drama going on with the client of mine, and he's still not making as much money as he was, which means I'm not getting as much money as I was, which wasn't much to begin with. Let's be honest, but it's like,
okay.
it's like, fuck. Now I'm low on income, and that's been the rest of this month. I've just been low on income. One of my other clients is going to be not putting out as many videos in the next couple of months because he's working on another business. One of my clients is not using me this month at all. And one of my other clients is out of town this entire week. So your boy don't know how he's going to pay bills this month.
Scary.
Very scary. So life is just kind of really rough right now. I'm trying to figure out things, and I don't want to dwell on it too much because I'll just be depressed.
Well, I'll change it up for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to talk about depressing shit for a little bit. What about some of the videos you made?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say the good part of all that is about 3 weeks ago, about a month ago, I was like, yo, everything I feel like I have no control over. What are things I do have control over? And I realized I was spending a lot of time on Twitter. I was spending way more time on Instagram looking at bitches than I should be.
As you do.
Because that's all Instagram is for. Let's be honest.
As you do.
And so I was like, I'm deleting those from my phone. I'm limiting my use of Twitter on my computer. That's been good. I've been addicted. Addicted is really the only word to Tetris for months. Like playing at least an hour of Tetris every day. So I put up my NES controller. I deleted Tetris 99 off the Switch, and I haven't touched it in like 3 weeks now, which has been crazy. And then as soon as I stopped playing Tetris, I started playing Guitar Hero more, and then my Guitar Hero controller broke. So
this man's just been hit with shit after shit
over and over again. I guess it's a good thing because now I'm not playing Guitar Hero every single day, but it's like, on one hand, now I have more time to do the things that I say I want to do anyways. On the other hand, I'm still dealing with shit sucks, and I just sit there depressed for like 30 minutes at a time.
Fair.
But that's life. Regardless of all of that, the videos that I've made over the last few months, over the last month, has not been as many as I'd want to, but there has been some bangers, so I'm excited about that.
There's some treats in here. Yeah, a couple of tricks, but also a couple of treats. You know.
Yeah. So I finished up.
Shit, I like.
I finished up the Oscar shit. Very glad to have that done. Really like what I've started doing with the title cards in these videos, because that was right when I started doing them. Kind of up the production quality of the show a little bit, and I'm really happy with that.
What was that? So speaking of production quality, you like put a new like an intro to an intro, because you still have the TV one,
right?
Like intro before that.
So there's a couple of things
shot really well and everything. The thing I was asking was like, what's the music track called on that? Because that song is a bop.
I will have to get that to you after the episode. I have it downloaded. It's from a website called Epidemic Music, which is like a bunch of royalty-free music that you pay for.
That song's a bop, dude.
Like, it's good. I love it. Ooh. It's just like a jazz tune that I found there. But great. I added an episode title card to every to the newer episodes, because I don't no longer put episode numbers in the titles. And then after that, I have my little introduction bit, and then I got a little joking. It's like those cards you see in trailers. Mm-hmm. And it says, the following episode of Zack Snyder's Your Everyday Nerd has been edited in compliance with YouTube's dumb standards. The episode uploaded has been rated PG-13, parents strongly caution, not suitable for babies, bad words that are bleeped out, and pee-pee jokes.
I love the pee-pee jokes. It's so good.
And then it's got the new intro with the TV and stuff, which I'm really a big fan of. Got a little lower third on the bitch.
Yeah. Looking snazzy.
I like it. I got some little title cards after I introduce whatever the topic is, and it just kind of, there's like a different one for each day of the week and each medium I'm talking about.
You have the consistent red border for any time you're showing a game or a movie. Because you used to.
Yeah.
And Your Everyday Nerd was like a different color every fucking episode, depending on what the theming was behind it. Now it's just that red, which,
yeah, I
gotta say, like at first I was kind of thrown off by like the red rebranding or whatever. I think this was kind of the month where I'm like, yeah, this is normal. It's kind of like gotten back.
It works now.
Into me, where I'm like, yeah, this look really good. It took a little bit for me to get there.
Same.
But I was honestly like, we're here. So
glad it worked out. I got a new little sponsor section, and then I've got little like transparent card things that go up on the screen during the sponsors. So that people can know to like look in the description for the thing that I'm talking about. But yeah, I like the rebranding. I'm really excited about that. I say I'm excited, and then I put on 8 videos, but I'm trying to up the production quality little by little, doing these new different things, working on the script writing and making sure that things flow well while also having things be spontaneous if I can. Mm-hmm. Really trying to do as much there as I can.
So of the 8 you've put out, which one would you say is your favorite?
Oh, fuck. Probably. Well, there's just like 2 that are just fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Some of the best.
Yeah.
There's the 50 Shades of Garbage video, which I've had the idea for like 3 months now, and it's like a 50 Shades of Grey review if I never watched the 50 Shades of Grey movie, which I didn't. So it's just me sitting in my kitchen in front of my sink, reviewing a trash bag and putting it over my head.
So good.
I think I say, don't do this at home, kids, at one point.
Yeah. My favorite shot of that is like you in the trash can.
Yeah, I did.
And you had clearly thought for some reason that you were going to be able to fit in all the way.
I don't know
the look
why.
on your face. The look on your face when you realize you can't. It's just perfect. And then you're like, oh, I got to keep doing the video. So then you try fucking halfway in this bitch to keep going. It's the funniest shit.
Not even my legs would fit completely in the trash can. It wasn't that big. Yeah.
Oh, that's
very happy with that video. It's like a short one, but it works. April Fool's video came out.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Top 10 Kids Bop albums. That's exactly what it sounds like. Go check it out if you haven't already. I'll leave it at that.
I was surprised by your number 2 pick, especially. That kind of threw me off a little bit.
Right. My
that
favorite
one for number 2. That's like the popular one. You kidding me?
Right. My guilty pleasure is number 4, but objective has to be.
Yeah. Not the strongest Kid Bop collection, but
yeah.
Kind of an underrated hit, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm doing more Avengers stuff, in-games, like Marvel stuff. I got a Pawn Stars video, which I kind of like.
I do too.
Tetris 99, and then the most recent was Sailor Moon, because my buddy Calfro, who listens to the podcast, signed up for my $25 slot on Patreon 2.5 months ago for me to do an episode of his choosing. And it was the original Sailor Moon, which is 46 episodes.
For season 1, not the
for
whole
season
thing.
1.
Yeah.
Not the whole 5-season series. So it took me a while to get through that, and I think I did the episode justice. So I'm happy with it.
The intro is really great. I like that.
I literally was like, I've been needing to get a haircut for forever. And I was getting ready to record this video. I was like, yo, what if I called up my dad like right now and said, is there any chance I can get a haircut in the next couple of days? And he was like, yeah, you can come down here and I'll take care of it. And so I recorded the fucking intro and then went and got my haircut and then came back and recorded the rest of it.
It's gags like that like before I made YouTube videos and was just a fan of like YouTube videos. It's gags like that was like, oh wow, that's really cool. I can't wait to do stuff like that. And then like having the opportunity to do them now in your own videos, like these gags that have been like, they're not new or anything.
No,
like,
not at all.
They're so much fun to do. And I love being able to do them now that I'm like actually creating videos and shit. I love stuff like that.
So my problem right now is that I have like 12 to 20 episodes that I could definitely write scripts for right now, record and edit. It's just a matter of finding the time to do it. And obviously this show is not daily at the moment. And I would like to get there again. It would be really dope. It's just my attention is elsewhere because I got to pay bills.
Yeah, really do feel like that. Weren't you also trying to change thumbnails too?
Yeah. I'm still doing that actually. Not all of the thumbnails are changed, but I've started updating thumbnails. I'm taking my face out of them just because I want to see what happens if I do that. I know a lot of people. A lot of big channels do really well with videos that don't have their face necessarily in it, especially with review type content, this kind of thing. So I'm going with like big images of whatever I'm talking about and trying to make it like super, super clickable. I've also changed a lot of the titles again. All the titles. I've changed all the titles again. And they might work. They might be more clickable. I don't know. I don't hate them. I think they're fine. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to find out the best way to package them to where they're not clickbait, because I don't want to hate what I'm looking at, but also we'll get some more views on. I think it's working already in the last couple of days because certain videos have started getting a few more views and I'm starting to get more comments on them, which is interesting.
Hey. You know my favorite change? You probably already know which one it is.
Is it the Incredibles one?
Yeah. that ugly red is finally gone.
It's gone.
And we now have, granted, a screenshot from the Incredibles 2, but still. Like.
Oh, is that from the second one? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I might actually change that one. I've thought about it again, changing that one.
But I like it already. And the title says something else that I'm excited about. Every Pixar movie. This dude really
Heck yeah.
I'm
really out here trying to do everything of everything. We'll see what happens.
The Mega Man ones are also a lot better in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The Chalk Zone one's good. The Garfield one, I like the old Garfield one a little bit better, so not all of them are hits.
Yeah, I agree. I'm still working on. I think I'm gonna change that one again as well. But
a lot of them are better, thankfully. Even the Flash ones too are a huge step up in my opinion.
Oh, I love the Flash ones. They're they're just screenshots of like Flash posters, but they look really well. They look really good. And I just need the algorithm to like pick that up on people looking for Flash content, And I think that those things could be some of my most viewed shit.
I like that you kept the Wreck-It Ralph one too, basically. You just got rid of the fake.
Yeah, I really like that one, and it works.
That one was a good one. So good shit, though, honestly. I like the rebranding. I like some of the different titles. Some of the most recent episodes, The Meaning of Life, in an episode, but I like it a lot.
Yeah,
Shades of
I should
Garbage.
probably talk about that real quick.
Sailor Moon. Good shit.
So, over the past month, I've put out a comedy EP and a comedy album. So, I have finally been able to get back into my musical career after so long. And,
it's an experience. It really is.
It is an experience.
I almost don't want to, like, spoil any one part of it. Because it works
probably
better if
leave
you
it
know
out
nothing
there.
about it.
So if you want to hear my musical debut in 2019, go to zacksnydermusic.bandcamp.com, and you can hear both my EP, The Meaning of Life, and my album, Why Did I Wake Up This Morning? I think that they are very they're very something.
And for any of you wondering, they do in fact go hard. So
they go hard.
You know?
It's been tested with a few different people. So I'm excited about that.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, that's basically been my month. I've dabbled in some other ideas that I think I'll leave off of the podcast now, just because in case I don't really do anything with them, I don't want to just say, hey, here's another thing I'm doing, LOL.
Right.
But yeah.
So,
but anyways, you've done some moves.
I have. Papa Aden has been working.
Blueface Productions.
I'm trying to remember.
Uh-huh.
Did I talk about in the last episode me not being in school anymore, or?
I believe so. Yeah. We had
did?
that big kind of conversation about it.
Okay. So yeah, I'm not in school anymore. Been doing a good bit of therapy. Been doing a good bit of
Heck yeah.
working. Been doing a good bit of antidepressants. Speaking of which, hold on, ladies and gentlemen.
It's time.
You know what time it is? It's antidepressant time.
Yo, let me get my muscle relaxers out.
Yeah. See, the thing about antidepressant time is it can really happen any time of the day. There's not a certain time of day that I have to take them. I just have to take them like once a day. So what I'll do typically is I'll save them for when I'm in a Discord call or with somebody. And I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't taken mine for today. You know, now would be a good time to do so. So, this one right here, this one's for the Kids Bop video. So here we go.
Heck yeah.
The real reason behind this gag in the first place is I know, like, I was very kind of scared and worried coming back from everything and then coming into the Discord and being like, yeah, I'm on happy pills, so whatever. Because I know, like, antidepressants kind of have a bad rap, and I didn't want to, like, be the guy in the Discord that, like, oh yeah, I'm depressed all the time, and oh yeah, I'm taking pills to cover my mood. I don't know, it just felt like a taboo kind of subject. So I felt like the best way to kind of, like, talk about it in the group is to not make it a big deal and just sort of joke about it.
Oh,
and,
that's what I do with everything, basically.
Yeah. So I feel like that's been a good way of popping it in there to where I'm not, like, the guy on antidepressants anymore, and instead I'm the it's antidepressant time guy, which is a much better, like, brand, I feel, than just
think so.
The depressed dude. So yeah,
you're also you're also the showing your feet on my Twitch channel guy.
That's great. I don't know what that Twitch stream did numbers.
Also happened in the past 2 weeks.
I'll explain it. So Zach on April Fool's Day, aside from doing a very serious video about Kids Bop albums that you should definitely watch, also did a Twitch Roblox stream for donations and invited me, Jay, and then later Tanku and Parker. And we just played Roblox for how long? Like 7 hours or some shit?
7 hours. I played that game once in my life.
Yeah.
And not
we had
that
a blast.
long.
We had a blast the whole way through.
Halfway through
it, I make a offhand like, yo, you want me to show my feet? Because Zach was away, and he left the OBS on the Discord, and I had my webcam on. And of course, everybody in the chat probably memeing, right? Not serious. It's like, yeah, do it, whatever. I'm like, all right. And so I plot my big old foot and go over each individual toe or whatever. And Zach realizes this, like, oh no, this is a bad idea. I hear him laughing in the background. And then I'm like, all right, that's foot number 1. Anybody interested in foot number 2? And they still say yes. And they're like, okay. And then I go for the second foot. And then at that point, Zach finally gets back, probably horrified of what he's just seen. And,
like, oh, okay.
I
had Twitch on my phone. I saw and heard everything. I had Twitch on my phone while I was making some noodles.
Yeah.
And I had to come back and eat to this.
That was definitely my streaming highlight in a while, because I haven't been able to stream because my internet like has been shit over here. But that was a highlight, to say the least. So
oof,
that's hype. Let's see what else. Oh, been working on some super secret monthly Battle League things that I won't talk about too much because it's still under wraps. But needless to say, there's been some developments this week, some interesting things going on with that. Hope to reveal that maybe in the next week or so, whenever I have time to do it. So that'll be fun and cool. Let's see. Aden on Anchor. I did have one episode a while back, but I haven't been posting any since then. I've kind of like forgotten about it because I have like no concept of days anymore. So it's hard for me to remember when Monday is a thing and actually like get up and record them. But the one I did was still fine. This podcast going pretty well. Zach's finally been getting episodes up. Good old Lines on Her Gaming, which I'm going to save for the main topic. Because that's going to be its own thing. Still addicted to Twitter, still addicted to Discord. And then, biggest thing for last, there's a new Back to the Video Games episode out, Zach. Isn't that wild?
Whoa,
episode 5.
Heck
episode
yeah.
5. And not only was it a new episode, not only was it a new episode, it had a new thumbnail.
It did.
And not only that, I went back and updated the other thumbnails to have that same style.
Hey.
So, that's wild. Basically the story behind that was just like, I wanted some new thumbnails because I wasn't happy with how they were looking. They were fine, but I know I could have like done better. So I asked Patient to like go crazy and come up with a template for them. And she had come up with these like a square and a rectangle in black and white. And I'm like, what if you replace this with the wood and this with the ocean? And we did that. And then she ended up putting the logo there. And I just filled in my typical like mullet text for the episode titles, as well as the number for each episode is now on the thumbnail. So that's cool. It's all there. Most of them are the same, but episode 3 got a bit of a change where there's no longer a face in that one. There's no face in episode 5 either. I think from here on out, I'm going to have some episodes with my face in them and some without. Just because, like, it's a lot of work to put it in there, and not every episode needs it, frankly. You know? There's some episodes where, like, do I need my face for the top 10 Switch games? No. Do I want my face for the Tecmo Bowl episode? Yeah, I kind of do. I need that to, like, get that episode seen. So it's a bit of a balance as far as that stuff is concerned. So yeah, I changed a couple of the titles too. Episode 2 is now called Is This the Best Smash Ever? Episode 4 is now Why I Love Tecmo Bowl. And then Top 10 Switch Games has been replaced with My Top 10 Switch Games, making it a little bit more personal, I guess. And then episode 1 has the same title and everything. But those are all the changes to these older episodes. Let's talk about the new one. My problem
That's hype.
Was Starlink. I was very worried. Very, very worried. For a lot of reasons. One, I hadn't recorded one in a while. 2, it was kind of a controversial subject. I knew a lot of people liked Starlink, and I was one of the few people that bitched about it. So I was worried about it that I would come off like too complainy and too bitchy. I was also trying some visual stuff where I'd have 2 camera perspectives that would kind of switch back and forth. So there's a lot going on under the hood, and the new thumbnail. So I was very worried to see, like, is this going to be too big of a departure? How's this going to work? Is it going to be too long, too short, whatever? And then I put it out, and, like, so far, it seems to have done well. What'd you think of it?
It's good. I really enjoyed it.
Your opinion. Yeah.
It got released 22 hours ago. About 16 hours ago, I watched that on a big-ass 4K TV in the living room.
Which is weird. You've done that for the Tech Mobile episode too. Like a lot of these.
Yeah.
On the TV.
Yeah, I like watching YouTube videos. I also limited my YouTube usage recently.
Right.
So I've been watching a little bit more of that on the TV. Right before I like watch a Netflix show or whatever. But anyways, I really liked the episode. It didn't feel like it was like 19 minutes long. It felt a lot shorter. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the shorter ones. Not the shortest, because the Tech Mobile episode's still shorter. But I liked having it around this 20-minute range. Felt good for the most part.
Pacing was great.
It would have been even shorter too with that comedy routine at the end.
Comedy routine was great until I saw like your mouth zoomed in on a like 72-inch 4K television.
Yeah. And that was
my
really
roommate's television really accentuates that. So
I made sure the teeth were in focus for that shot in particular.
It's great. So. It's great. I don't know what made me more uncomfortable, that or the feet. I'm still trying to think. Yeah. But anyways, I think it's funny that you thought that was like a controversial topic thing, because
a little bit, yeah.
Like, I put out a video with a controversial topic. I'm like, oh well, there it is.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm so worried. I don't know whether or not.
Because I'm not a negative person. I don't make these negative kind of videos. I haven't mastered the art of like dissecting something that I hate. It's different for like a Tech Mobile thing where I love it and I want more people to know about it. This is popular and I don't like it, and here's why. And I make sure to try and come across as like, I'm not out here for this game. I'm not trying to like ruin it. I'm just simply saying from my perspective on a game that I hadn't even played, and I thought that would be a sticking point too. Hadn't even played the game before. Fair. Of like, right, I gotta make sure here that I'm not fucking, going off on something that's undeserved. And because of that, there was a lot that was cut out in this episode. This probably had the most editing and jump cuts back and forth, which not only decreased the time, but it made the argument a little bit more concise and a little bit less all over the place.
I think so. I agreed with it. I mean, pretty much 100%.
So I'm glad. I'm glad Calfro seemed to like it. I just got a comment from some new channel called Lila Days, who agreed with some of it too. So.
Oh, you also did like a camera angle thing, which is really dope. You had like a second camera.
Yeah. So cool. How that worked out basically was I had my main camera, pointed at me, front facing. And then I have my desk not terribly far from my green screen setup and my webcam that I like used to use for every Blue Couch Productions video. And I had a tripod that would fit it. I put the webcam on top of the tripod on top of the table, and had the side-facing perspective. And then what I would do is if like I had a tangent or a point that I really wanted to get across, I would turn over that way, and then in editing, match it perfectly to where if my face was turning, to cut it off at the right moment, and then have it transfer over to that perspective as well. So I tried to be very intentional with when I used it. I didn't want it to make it feel like random or like a gimmick, so it only shows up a couple of times. And
yeah, it was perfect.
But I loved it. I loved it a lot.
Yeah. I never felt like it was overused, and I felt like the points that you did use it on, it was, like I said, it was perfect. It honestly was.
Yeah. No Ethan. Unfortunately, he's been away for a little bit, working on college stuff. He has a Maymester class. I probably won't be able to get him in for a lot of stuff, which means like one of my biggest challenges with Back to the Video Games now is trying to find some form of humor. I managed to work it off in this video with a comedy stand-up, which was essentially outtakes mapped to music, which works fine. But like I can't do that every episode. Like
that's fair.
It's gonna be a bit of a challenge finding a way to keep it, because I don't just want it to be me talking for like 30 fucking minutes. As much as I
get it,
my natural instinct points to that. Pacing is always a huge challenge for me, and humor is the hardest part of that.
I will say, I didn't even think. I feel like there were some points that you made that I did laugh at just because of the way you said them, or like whatever the point was. But I didn't even think about the fact that you didn't have comedy skits until the big comedy shit at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say that episode, particularly pacing wise, I felt was very strong.
And I think part of that is just like it's shorter too. It's not as long. I I did a thing where like zoom ins were mainly used for comedic effect, where I'm talking about like Star Fox Zero or Skylanders, and have a zoom in of like I was a fan of this or yikes or like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And that's funny in like a passing glance. But the comedy setup thing was like I needed a little bit of humor, and I thought it worked pretty well pacing wise. Where I'm just done bitching and I'm like,
right,
got all my negative energy out to end the video on a positive, like funny note.
For sure.
Helped a lot. But yeah.
It's hard. Pacing is hard. Trying to be both like trying to not be the funny guy while also giving your points across is very difficult.
It's hard for me, especially because I don't script them. I don't plan them out a whole lot. Like, I do a little bit of research and I know what I'm going to talk about. But when you do that, like, you end up having a lot of stuff that's on the cutting room floor and you try to piece together the best pieces in such an order that it feels good. And sometimes it works really well and sometimes it doesn't. But I've definitely gotten better at it over the years. But that's enough of me. That was basically my week. I'm doing a lot better.
Basically, that's good.
I'm in a better spot than I was February and parts of March for sure. I'd like to do more back to the video games, but like every time we talk about the show on this podcast, I always feel like I'm in a better place with it. To where at first I was kind of like, and then I'm like, this is better. Okay. Now we have good thumbnails. Now I got the length down. Now I kind of, more and more I'm more confident about it every time we talk about it. So that's been nice.
It's very good. I'm glad. I really am.
So I just have to do more.
I understand that shit.
That's it for Papa's week on YouTube.
I had one more thing to mention for mine because I completely forgot it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Your boy hit another subscriber goal.
Oh yeah,
which is wild.
I forgot about that too.
710 now.
Shoot.
Which is insane.
Building up.
Moving up in the world. There's not really been that much of a difference. There never really is.
Right.
But
it never feels like it.
Yeah. It's still dope. I'm still very grateful for it, and I have been seeing a couple new faces in the comments. It's not been like, it's interesting because a lot of these people that are subscribing for a couple of my older videos, because those are for some reason really hitting the YouTube algorithm, and I don't think I really like that much, but here we are. Final Destination and Scooby-Doo recaps. Those are what YouTube wants right now.
Apparently.
So if you ever want to review either of those movies, go for it, man.
Might just do that.
Eventually, I'm going to redo those movies for... I already did it with Scooby-Doo. I'm going to redo those for Your Everyday Nerd, and then probably private the originals at some point. Yeah,
I thought about redoing some Blue Cash reviews for this format. And I already kind of brought up elements of Star Fox, the Star Fox one, but the F-Zero episode and Great Pumpkin I might be able to fit in somehow.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you everybody so much for listening to the episode. We appreciate you.
Yes. Yes. What's a question of the day for anybody listening to this?
Question of the day. Are you ever depressed?
Are you ever sad?
Depression question mark? No.
Let us know down in the comments below.
Serious question of the day. Have you ever felt apathy towards your own creation? It can be YouTube. It can be some kind of other creative thing. I know almost everybody has something creative that they like to get into. Have you ever felt like that, or even a hobby? Maybe you like watching movies. Maybe you like playing games. Have you ever felt in one point in your life where you just were apathetic towards those things and you just didn't want to do them for some reason? And if so, how'd you get through it? Yeah.
Let us know. Story. We can all read them together and feel a little bit better about this cruel existence. So I appreciate it if you were to answer that question today. And as always, leave us some more fucking topics. I need more.
We are at the bottom of the barrel, scratching it. There's about to be a hole in the bottom of this barrel. It's just getting there. We got the analytics episode coming.
Yeah.
Get hyped for that. And then at that point, we're gonna have to start talking about how to make porn, and I don't think any of us wants that.
That'd be a great episode 50. That'd be a wild episode.
Any topics you're trying to throw our ways, we'll take them.
Literally,
it can even be like super personal shit. Like, go for it, man.
On any podcast platform, doesn't have to be YouTube. You can leave your comment wherever. You can email Zach if you really wanted to.
Email Zach.
Enough.
ZachSnyder, Zack Snyder Productions @gmail.com. I think I'm gonna get another YouTube podcast email at some point and make things easier.
Oh yeah, that would be a lot easier.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do that in like 10 minutes. So another YouTube podcast @gmail.com. Hit that up if you have any questions, comments, concerns, death threats. At this point, I'll take it.
Send all your feet pics from WikiFeet to that email as well. Whichever foot tickles your fancy the most, send it there. Zach will appreciate it so much. If you have your Thor the Dark World fanfic, send it down that way.
Also, don't. Read it. I've been Zach.
And I've been Aden.
Thank you for listening to this episode of another YouTube podcast.
Or maybe, like, whatever you have in your hard drive. Just throw it on there. Email it. Okay, bye.